Today, in fact, this week has been something pretty wild for Helldivers 2, but what we saw hit the game this morning was on fire, literally. What's happened and how do we prepare for it? Well, that's what I'm going to be taking a look at today. In case you're new here, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell as we dive into the seriously hot day we saw in Helldivers. I have no idea where to begin with everything that has landed on top of us today, but, we might as well start with the new major order. Here's the latest from Helldivers HQ. We have discovered automaton mining operations on planets with extremely high volcanic activity. Due to their completely inhospitable environments, these planets have not been closely tracked. These new magma planets have now been added to the galactic map. 3 have been identified: Fury, K, and Mox. The metallic automatons have taken advantage of their artificial forms to seize these lava-covered planets and steal their rich mineral resources from our citizens. Scans reveal extensive industrial operations across each of these planets, mining, refining, and material processing plants of unknown purpose. This exploitative larceny will not be tolerated. The Helldivers are ordered to deploy to these planets immediately, seize the automaton industrial facilities so they may be turned towards democratic prosperity. And so here's the damage for this major order, and pay very close attention to this as it looks far easier than it's really going to turn out to be. Now, over the next 6+ days, we are tasked with liberating Fury, Planet K, and Mox, which sounds easy enough until you look at the galactic map. You see, Fury is where we are currently fighting, but then to get to Planet K, we first got to go through Copessa 4, and then to get to Planet Mox, we've got to go through Virelia 5. And so what looks like a 3-planet liberate major order is actually a 5-planet blitz compressed into 6 days. And by the way, 3 of these 5 planets are the new automaton lava planets, which are basically the worst parts of Mordor. The fire pools, lava, random fire explosions, and all the rest of it, but they've been imported here into Helldivers 2. As if Hellmire wasn't fiery enough, Helldivers 2 just added magma planets so you can accidentally push friends into lava pools. Quote, Arrowhead spent so long cooking, they overheated the planet, with a further sub-headline of, "It's over, Rocket Devastator, I have the high ground." That's how GamesRadar framed today's new biome drop into the game, which, interesting point here to make, this does not require any additional new downloads from you out there. So this was already in the game files and was probably part of Tuesday's Into the Unjust 5.0.0 update. Arrowhead Game Studios just put the hell back into Helldivers 2 with new magma planets that you can get steamy in right now. Arrowhead released a trailer, in-universe propaganda piece earlier today, proclaiming that pesky automatons are yet again stealing natural resources from planets rightfully owned by humanity. This time, lava-filled planets getting in the way of Super Earth's interstellar colonial project, perfectly managed, totally democratic project. Fight for the future of our bright-eyed voters of tomorrow, the trailer's description reads. The soulless automaton legion is plundering the ancient magma worlds and stealing our priceless resources. Smother this infernal injustice in all new missions against mining bots, ruthless guards, and deadly machinery. Arrowhead spent so long cooking, they overheated the planet, one online commenter wrote. Everyone else is instead making the same Star Wars joke, and to be honest, it's too obvious to not make. And then GamesRadar cites quite a few of the prequel quotes that are floating around in the Helldivers community, such as, "It's over, Rocket Devastator, I have the high ground." And then there's another one here that says nearly 200,000 prequel memes are ready, with 1 million more on the way. Now, as you can imagine, the threads are also full of more than a few gifs of Anakin getting toasted, as everyone's simply excited to recreate Darth Vader's steamy rebirth with their own divers. They finish with, "Just make sure you've got the higher ground out there, okay?" And since we've reached the point of dropping these prequel Anakin references, you've got to check out this recreation from Reddit, simply with the title of "The Fall of a Dissident."
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
So, what's changed, you asked? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. First off are the biomes. They are extremely varied with pits, crevices, and plenty of rocky structures to take cover behind. There's also pools of lava that if you end up in, well, you know how that story ends. And be careful out there, divers, because you are taking on the ragdoll kings with the Automatons, so your chances of ending up in a lava pool are higher than normal. There's also a new set of missions, including a variant of the Blitz missions, but with this one, you've got 12 minutes to down bioprocessors instead of bot fabricators. There's also a new Confiscate Assets mission where you infiltrate bot bases and either load fusion batteries or platinum bars into a container for an extraction shuttle to come pick up and take off world. But, and again, you knew there was a but here, the mission that is making all the headlines right now are the new rapid acquisition missions, which, I'm going to be honest with you, are f***ing nuts. For those of you grizzled Helldiver vets out there who were lucky enough to have lived this long and remember way back when, these new missions are like the old Evacuate Citizens missions we used to go up against versus the bots, where you would have wave after wave of dropships literally tossing heaps of bots straight down on top of your heads, all while trying to get these small groups of civvies to their protected bunker for extract. But in this case, the spawn rates seem to be seriously juiced up, and we're trying to move platinum from the holding areas over to the cargo containers. Now for these, it's really going to depend on what difficulty you are on, what map setup, and most importantly, what enemy seed you see. Let me explain. You see, the first time we saw this mission, it had a raised platform in the center where the container was, and it was very close quarters, and we had War Striders and Hulks landing down on top of us in massive quantities. Each time you took one Strider down, 3, 4, 5 more showed up, and we were quickly overwhelmed simply by their grenade spam. But the second time we saw this mission, it was in a much larger map, kind of shaped like a bowl, with the landing pad way down in the center. And we ended up using 2 of us up on the high ground, sniping and using anti-tank whatevers to deal with the dropships and factory striders, while the other 2, down in the bowl, did the carrying of the platinum over to the container. Also on this second run through, we didn't get a single War Strider and far fewer Hulks, which, I'm going to be honest, made it quite a bit easier. And since we're talking about it, here's a few tips for the thrill-seeking divers out there when it comes to these lava planets to help you kind of stay up and on your feet. And the first of these would be the armor sets that you pick. You see, these planets are seriously hot and covered in lava, along with random fire traps. So any armor like Inflammable that gives you resistance to fire is pretty peak. You could also use the Kill Zone or Dust Devil's armor for slightly lesser fire resistance, but those also include other percentage resistances as well. Also, with the high heat levels on these planets, you will quickly, and I mean quickly, drain your entire stamina bar. So lightweight armor for the extra stam regen might be a solid pick here as well. Now, for some of our runs, I actually used the heavy Inflammable armor, but then I paired it with a warp pack to help with mobility. But you can equip these to your taste. I think it also goes without saying that these biomes highlight the need to use and equip the Stamina Enhancement Booster. More stam capacity and recovery is super important while planetside, as when you are depleted, you can obviously find yourself overwhelmed and moving at a snail's speed. And finally, items like the laser cannon and primaries that use lasers will heat up much faster, causing them to potentially overheat. Even the Quasar cannon's going to take much longer to cool down between shots and so on. So in the end, you may need to swap out parts of your favorite loadouts just to compensate for the planetary conditions. Here's a great time to slip this question into our conversation. After this week in Helldivers, with this new Warbond dropping, with the update, and now the new major order on bot lava planets, how are you personally enjoying the game? Drop me a comment and let us see what is standing out for you, both good or bad. Now for me, I've got to be honest, it feels like Helldivers did back in the early days when new things were hitting the game back to back to back. We'd get a new enemy type, a new planet, a crazy major order. Oh look, here comes another new Warbond. I mean, there's so many new things hitting the game and it keeps you entertained, which I love. Now, I can be honest here, I often get critical of Arrowhead and Helldivers, pointing out the mistakes and so on, but I've got to say that is done out of love for the game and what I know it can be with more polish and dedication to detail. But I also take the time to point it out when I think the game is cooking, and this week has been one of those times. This is the type of pace the community and the game needs right now. We need those fixes, content, new gear and weapons, new missions and biomes, and that crazy new acquisition mission to really test our squad's coordination. Yeah, this week has been a really good one. Please take a moment to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. A massive and heartfelt thanks goes out to all of our channel members. Your support makes content like this possible. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.